Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Now, with that said, time perception. Hmm. Now, time is one of those things. Well, what time is it? Whose time is it? And is it Central Time? Is it Eastern Daylight Time? Is what time? What does time mean? You know, and when you throw away a clock and you go out in the woods and you leave your electronic devices behind, as the natives used to do, all indigenous species would tell time by the sun. Is the sun overhead? It's noon. Is the sun, setting in the west? It's evening time. Is it coming up early morning? It's daytime. It's morning. If there is no sun, it's dark. And that's what time it is. Now, there's an old, I guess it's a running joke amongst Native Americans at powwows and so forth. And it's like, people say they're on Indian time. For example, I remember several years ago, it's been about 20 years ago now, up in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Hi, Teresa. How are you? Greetings and blessings to you. That these folks showed up, and my friend who was the promoter for the event, and it was a large event. I mean, it was voted like to one of the largest events in the South, and it got written up in several places. But anyway, these folks showed up, and it was like 10 minutes to 12. And my friend goes up and he goes, "I thought you said you guys were going to be here on Friday." And he looked down and he said, "What time is it?" And he goes, "Well, it's 10 minutes to 12. It's almost midnight." He goes, "Then it's still Friday." He goes, "We're here," and then there was no argument, and he was like, but he looked at him and said, "Jerry," he said, we're on Indian time. Do you forget that you're Indian as well, And, you had to kind of been there, but the idea is that they knew what time it was. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Thank you. Greetings back. But this concept of time, so I've worked all my life at places that docked you for if you were 1 minute late, or you got points against you. There are a lot of places that still do that. If you're late, you get points docked. You get this, and it's all about time, 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 time. Well, now my consideration is, now that people are home more, now that things have slowed down, generally speaking, um, w- what is our perception of time now? Now, for example, I was out in the shop earlier this evening, and I'm working on a project, and I'm, humming along and doing my thing and doing my filing and doing my drilling and the thing I'm working on. And I didn't realize how much time had went by. And I came back in the house and went, "Whoa, wow, I just felt like it was a few minutes to me," when actually it was closer to an hour. So, not that it really matters in my world, but my perception of time. So when I think about other folks, now that they are not have folks don't have to rush somewhere to be somewhere, or there are still people working, and I talked with my sister down in Florida, and she still has to be on time at Walmart when she works there. Her hours have been cut, but semi-retired as she is. But the idea, though, that for folks who had to do things all the time, here we go with the word time, right? All the time. So, they had to, be somewhere at a certain time, and the time factor and the thing. Well, now this paradigm has changed drastically for a lot of people. So my question, it, just in general, has it changed people's perception of time? Is it moving faster? Is it as I kind of feel like, even though in my world, down here on the farm, I don't get out much and do too many things, on a whether it's a lockdown or not. But I realize that, some of the things that I may have went to town for, I have, said, well, I'll wait another day or so. So in my own realm, some of the things I'm not, I have adjusted my time, as it were, to fit other folks. And, the 6 o'clock curfew thing, it's interesting that once in a while you'll see a car go by, but basically everybody is staying home. There's no cars out on the highway at night, and it's really kind of strange. But in that has the people who aren't rushing to places now, what's their consideration of time, and what does it mean into the idea of our spiritual self in the cosmic reality? Because we're being bombarded. We just went through several days of some really, intense cosmic energy that resonated and showed up on the Schumann resonance. And so this agitation to our spirits and our bodies and all our cells are being microwaved in a way, sort of like a potato in a microwave. Punch a hole in it, or it'll explode. But the idea, though, that time, though, has it altered? Has time actually altered, or has our perception of the time changed? And of course, my perception of this is people are having a different idea because they have a little bit more time on their hands. The thing about time has changed. Everybody around the planet has slowed at to some degree, and or some things have just, stopped altogether. But at the same time, here we go with the word again. At the same time, for example, I watched a video of some folks in China, and one of the health ministers was walking through a housing complex, and the Chinese people were screaming out the windows, fake, let us out. What is this mess, and I was kind of surprised. But we have people who are now, quote, locked in their homes or in lockdown at their house. And if they live in a tiny space, then they're probably getting a little bit of cabin fever. And time has changed for them because now they've got too much time on their hands or in a small place. But the idea, though, will our perception change from this point forward? It's going to be an interesting thing to watch because 7 billion people have changed their attitude in some way, shape, or form. And so it's like I don't have an answer for any of this stuff. It's my observations, that my peculiar observations of things. But in some of the YouTube videos, I don't know if people have more time, and it's like there seem to be less videos on from certain people, and where it seems like maybe there's not enough news going on. Maybe their time has had to change. Maybe their focus has had to. I don't know. But even for myself, I got a little quiet. But I had just had things here that I was trying to get done, and I'm going to show you. I swear to God, I'm going to do a video of some of the stuff I've been doing around here. I finally got my redneck well drilled outfit kind of hooked up, so I'm going to be firing it up the next day or two and see how it'll work. This ought to be fun. Um, and I got the trailer of the kayaks. Pretty much it. I'm happy with it at the moment. I got to do a couple more tie downs, but I'm trying to get a few things done while the weather is cool down here in South Georgia because it's going to get hot soon, and it's going to be murder trying to go outside. But anyway, but my meditation and my time and the cogs, the wheels and so forth, and my brain is still working on some of these issues. And I'm like, so how does the rest of the world feel about this? As time seemed like to drag on now. You know what I mean? Oh my God, we've got so much time now. Well, didn't we have the same amount of time? I mean, the clock still ticks the same tick tock, right? The sun still sets and rises pretty much the same. And if you're on Indian time, well, you can say, well, it's morning or it's afternoon or it's evening simply by looking at the position. So and where the sun is, it doesn't lie too much as far as, is it morning or afternoon or something like that. So, but it's our peculiarity. Say that three times real quick. Our peculiar look at time and how we have to be somewhere or tune in, like this evening, I was like, well, maybe I'll save this subject. And I was like, no time like the present, you know, in this obscure way of thinking of things. But perception wise, it seems like there are certain things that have just slowed down, even here at the farm. I'm like, I think an hour's went by and it's only 20 minutes. Then conversely, like tonight, what seemed like 20 minutes was closer to an hour. So it's like, now I've mentioned these time warps or jumps or things or something in previous videos, 6 months ago, years ago, who knows? But I have discussed it. Discussed it? Yep. I have discussed it. And the fact that my clock, for example, my friend was over here the other night, and I said they were looking at the clock, and I said, "Remember, I don't move my clocks forward." And she made the statement. She goes, "Ever since the times changed, even though she doesn't have to be anywhere, or she worked as a nurse for years, so time was medicine time, this time, that time, blah blah blah, time." And she goes, ever since the time changed this last time, I've just all been screwed up. And I'm like, that's why I don't change my clock. For whatever silliness it seems, I look at my clock and I know what time it is here. I went outside today and looked up and said, it's noon, looked at the clock. It was 5 till. I was close enough, so, but, this 1 o'clock thing and the this and the that. Yeah, if I do a live stream or something, I have to understand that a lot of other people are an hour ahead. And my computer is on Eastern Daylight Time. So when I'm doing stuff like this online, I'm always looking at this clock. So but anyway, I can discern the difference. My time back here on this one, computer time, everybody else's time. But as far as it messing with me and leaping ahead and falling back, I don't have that issue any longer. Now, is it just psychological? Probably. But my friend's saying, I can't believe that this last time change just screwed me up so bad. And I'm like, does it really matter? Well, no. Well, but she would go to the art center and things. So, but time to her is gone wonky as well. And so it's like, what's with this wonkiness in time? Just literally. We were having a chat a week or so ago, and what seemed like, 20 or 30 minutes worth of chatting was several hours. All right, so enough of this. Now, what has this got to do with the cosmic energies? Our perception of things change with our relative position in the universe. The planet, flat or round, it's still at a position where the moon is and how the tides are, but also this cosmic energy. So now we have this extra time, or is it extra? Or is it our perception that we have more time since we, aren't allowed to go as many places as we maybe would have, could have, or maybe in some cases should have? But that, wait a minute now, does that mean that we can have more time for introspection? Does that mean I should take this time to, be more spiritual somehow? Whether it's just to learn more awareness, maybe read a book, maybe, I was talking with my friend the other day, and he said, the local seed companies are having issues because people are planting more than they ever have before. Seed stores and places are literally, in some cases, running out of seeds and plants and things. People are buying chickens and got chickens going, and I've had chickens and planting gardens for years. It's sort of my lifestyle, but other people are starting to pick this same thing up. A gentleman told me that he was so proud because he's got him some chickens now, and I used to swap him out eggs and stuff in the old days, and now he's got his own chickens. So, people are changing their attitudes where it was just really easy to do something before. Now they're like, no, I want my own chickens. I don't want to have to worry about going to the store. And, I can at least, why eat the chicken, eat the eggs. My old hen out here is probably 10, well, 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 years old. I mean, she should be croaking. But she still gives an egg a day almost. She'll take a break. She went fallow for about 4 months, but she's my chicken. I kept feeding her, and she's laying eggs again. Nice, great, big, brown eggs. And one chicken doing just fine. And I've been considering getting more chickens again, but it really when you got to raise little chicks, takes a lot of time. Here we go with the time thing, and you really got to pay attention and so forth anyway. But so I'm trying to get some of my other projects, and make sure the weather is warm enough. But the next time I see a chick sale, I'll probably get some more because I know my one hen's about out. And to not have fresh eggs for me is just like, what? After 15, 20 years of having my own eggs, no, I don't think so. I'm going to have to get some more chickens. But anyway, time. What does it have to do with our soul, and with being a shaman and being a spiritual person? Because in the shaman realm, time really doesn't exist. It's sort of like Indian time. It's like, is it daylight? Okay. Or is it nighttime? Okay. Is it pre-dawn, where it's a little light, or is the sun going down and then it's evening? You know, but it's either daylight, nighttime, or evening or dawn. It's just one of it's like there's four choices. Now, one could break down how late it is, watching the moon and the stars and so forth is pre-dawn and all that. It, Judging it, as a camper and someone who's been on the river in the middle of the night all night long sometimes, I would think, God, it's got to be, like sun's got to be coming up any time. Man, I'm like an hour and a half early. No, no, because I don't wear a watch. So I'd get back to my truck, which has a clock, and I'd go, I'd be expecting the sun to come up and go, well, it's only 5 o'clock. Well, we've got another hour before the sun comes up or whatever. But to the point about the time, though, how do we look at it? What is our perception of it? So a shaman or a spiritual person isn't concerned about the time. Now, if you're going to meditate for an hour and you got a schedule and you got kids and stuff, I get it. Trust me. But when you have time, and should you worry about it? Well, I don't know. I got to cook supper by 12, by 6, and the kids are okay. But if you take time out and you meditate, do you care how long you meditate? I mean, it's like, well, I got a couple hours. Okay. Do you say, well, I'm only going to meditate for the next 10 minutes? Well, now you can do that, and 10 minutes worth of good meditation is sometimes as good as an hour. But if you're in for some good soul searching and stuff, you don't want to limit yourself with time. So in the shaman realm, in the realm of the spirit, does time exist? Not in the true sense of things. So it is our perception of time. That's why I brought up all this other 15 minutes worth of explanation about time and life and stuff. And we all have it, right? But now, when we move into out of this 3D realm and we start thinking about the astral world and the spirit world and all these other things, does time exist in the same way? And the answer is simply no, it doesn't. Because it's our 3D reality. Trust me, ghosts don't run around with clocks on, with a watch. They're not checking the time. But a spirit may know what time of day or night it is. Okay. Or what time of the moon it is, full moon or not. Those things are energetic. There are lots of other things attached to that we can't see. Most of us can't see with these eyes. We can perceive them, we can see them with our third eye, but they still exist. Does the spirit that I used to sit on the front porch with, who woke me up and saved our lives from the house burning down, did that spirit know what time it was when I got home from work and would sit out on the front porch and we'd rock together and watch the sunset. Did he know? Was he aware of my time? I mean, because it happened, I would sit on the porch and that chair rocked right along with me. And I'm like, good on you, buddy, or whoever you are. But I always treated even though I may not have seen the spirit or understood it, I always treated it with respect because I realized there are other realms. Now, most people don't have that. They don't understand that there are other realms. And we have to say thank you. We have to give honor, whether we can see them or not. So, because they're in another time zone, okay? Their perception of time is not like us. It's not linear. It's different. So when we move into this fourth dimension, a lot of people, oh, we're already in the lower fourth dimension. I tend to disagree. We are in the upper third dimension. Some people are higher spirited and so forth. I get that. But as a general population, I think we're only in the higher three dimensions for a lot of folks because when you start seeing spirits and seeing things with your open eyes, then you're in the lower fourth, is my interpretation and all the information that I have gathered. Upper third, you start seeing things out of the corner of your eyes. Lower fourth, you start seeing them for real and having to deal with that, which brings in another time concept. You can see something in your realm and also in a different realm. So is time the same there? No. In your dream world, you can travel all kinds of places and wake up an hour later and go, whoa, what was that? I just lived a lifetime time. I just lived a lifetime in the last hour and I came out of the dream state or whatever, and now I'm here. Wait a minute, it's only been an hour? We've all had similar, some kind of something effect, right? But so our perception of it. But to move forward as a shaman, you have to understand that time will sometimes stand still. And it's because it's our perception of it. And other times it goes by really fast. Sitting in the waiting room, waiting on the doctor. Oh, holy criminy netley. I've sat there and went, gee, many Christmas. It's only been 2 minutes, because you're like, well, and the doctor's late. She had blah, blah, blah. And you wanted to get out of there before a certain time. And now everything, of course, I haven't been to the doctor in 3 years now. Don't know whether that's good or bad, but I'm still here. But the idea, though, that time, see, so all these tiny little idiosyncrasies that are in our lives, and now that many folks are waking up to just other things because of this, the time change and the perception and things slowing down and the lockdown, all the stuff that's going along with it, right? So with all these things that are going along with it, people are going to I'm keeping my fingers crossed in that a lot of people will retain some of this after this event is over. Now there's a lot of folks talking like it's going to be years before it gets back to normal, and I would say yes to that. Now, do I what do I mean by that? Well, there's a stretch of time there, 2 years. Well, to get things cranked back up, people back to work, the product line's getting back to get back to normal. It's going to take a while. I talked about it months ago in a video about um, the just in time thingy and all that. But so there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be changed because of this. And there are a lot of time things, time constraints, because before with this just in time, you got it. Well, I ran out, and then somebody shows up in the next morning, and you got some more. Well, no, wouldn't it be nice to have extra before you ran out? But things are going to take a little bit of time to get back to moving again, okay, and to get things quote whatever normal was before this event. And I'm hoping and praying in a positive way that people's perceptions and so forth will change after this event. And you know what I'm talking about. Um, I don't want to give it any energy. So I don't use the V word that like our us, and I don't use the thing or the number. Yeah, just stay away from all that. I don't give it. You've not heard me talk about it um, as its name, and I refuse to put it in a title. But we all know what we're talking about. But anyway, so we can stay healthy and all that. But anyway, about this time thing. So in the shaman's realm, a shaman can take a journey of a lifetime or two lifetimes. And we're all shamans in training, mind you. So each one of us, I talked the other night about our soul contracts. Well, Edgar Casey, he mentioned that, we can learn what our soul contract was through our own meditation and our own contact with our own spirit guides and our angels and so forth. And that we know what our contract was or is. We should speak in the current configuration of time, because we're the ones that made the arrangement. So we get in touch with ourselves to find out what that agreement was. And, we don't try to make it up. Well, I think I was a such and such. I've heard some folks come up with my soul contract is this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, okay. And this was planned and that was this and this one that. Now I'm saying there's a lot to synchronicity, but sometimes there's been times when I'm like, well, I didn't do something or I did do something. And, there were outcomes either way. And so, is everything we do like a and like a watch? Is everything synchronized? And I gotta say that there's a lot of chance out there, but there is a lot of synchronicity if we live that way. If we ignore it or don't pay attention to certain things like, I don't know, feathers on the ground or just nature talking to us, seeing animals or, having certain dreams on things or, whatever it may be, nature teaches us because we are natural beings. One of the interesting things about this time of the planet is that so much stuff is mechanical or plastic, or we have lost what natural is. Well, it's organic. Yeah, but it's may have started out. What does organic mean? You need to check, you know. So, but our time involved in what we do. There's another. So, as a shaman, we wish to spend our time doing something that's worthwhile, something that will enrich us in some way. Planting a garden, I've been working on drilling a well down here. I've been working on the house on a project that's 2, 3 years old. It gives me a great feeling of accomplishment to finally finish some of this stuff that's been sitting on the sidelines for a while. And so, and I've said this many times, it's about time, Hawkeye, that you got this done. So, but am I in a hurry? No. But I realized that I had become such a recluse, um, even to myself, so that I had taken myself out of time, and I've just literally watched time go by. And in doing so, 2 or 3 years has gone by, and these projects that I should have accomplished before are suddenly, well, wait a minute, for some reason they're important now. Well, they've been important for several months, but before this event. But with this, though, I see other people doing very similar things that I'm doing. Of course, I've been doing them anyway. I got projects up the yin yang around here. So, there's never a day there isn't something that can be done. But other people, though, are finding projects or creating projects or working through certain things or whatever. And they're finding the time for some of these things. My friend stopped by yesterday and he goes, I think I might have time for you and me to go hit the river, Hawkeye. And I was like, cool. Because last year we went down to the river. And if it's once a year, me and my friend get to go hit the river, come on, let's go, and paddle for a couple hours. It's good. But he's like, well, maybe I'll have the time. Time. spiritually, having this time. Now let's wander just a little bit. Now I'm looking, it's been 30 minutes of time that's just went by. Now, if we were in a dream state, or if we were in a state of hypnosis, the time that we are in the event stops from our point of view, but the clock doesn't. So to us, time has stopped. We don't know what's happened. We were meditating, we were under hypnosis or self-hypnosis, or maybe just, doing a power nap thing. But you say, well, it's only been 20 minutes. And then you go, it's been 2 hours. And you go, well, wait a minute. Time seemed to stop for me. It did, because it's your perception of the time. If you remove yourself from the clock, then it's your time. So if you feel like time slowed down, it did. But that infernal clock that's always ticking on this planet, it says otherwise. But now, so which was true? Did you stop time because you were meditating? Or was it your perception? Did the clock kept running? But the clock is 3D, and the dream state and etc. is not of this world, 3D wise. So did time stop? Our perception. Did it stop in the other realm? Or did we live a whole lifetime, meaning that it sped up possibly, in that hour's worth of time that we were asleep or meditating? So one way speeds up, I lived a lifetime. And the others, oh my God, I thought it was only 20 minutes. It's been an hour. So there are these different levels. But trust me, when you're in the dream state and you're in the dream world, the 3 days I was down on I know I keep bringing this up, but it's a reference point for me. When I spent 3 days on the river, there were times when I felt like no time had passed at all. But after the second day of no water and that lot of heat, I was like, I've been down here too long. I've been on the river too long. Holy crap, what am I going to do? And then time seemed to stand still again. And then on the third day, I resurrected from the dead off of the river and got back to the bridge in my truck, and water and food and all that kind of stuff. My little dog was really happy to be back to the truck. Um, God bless little Sasha four-legged, who's gone and still with me. But the idea, though, that in that time frame, 3 days, and there was times during the day when the sun was beating down, it was 102 in the shade, and I'm throwing rancid river water on me because the river wasn't even flowing at the time, and just trying just to make it. And then, but at night when it cooled down more, it seemed like the time just zipped by, and it was hot again in the daytime. But then all of a sudden, time seemed to like, wait a minute, those 2 days didn't matter. They were gone. And I was somehow now headed back to my truck. So the time warp thing it's really, as I talk about it now, it's still really weird. But it was the jump between the natural 3D, this one, and the spirit realm, and my crossing back and forth between. So it seemed like a long time, but it didn't seem like any time at all. It was actually 3 days in real time on the planet, but it seemed like I had, walked with these spirits for months and years and maybe an eon, who knows? And so, boy, my perception of time has been greatly like, wow, is it going fast? Is it going slow? And the biggest thing we need to do is say, wait a minute, where am I? Well, I'm sitting in this chair and I'm having a chat with y'all. So I know what time this is. We're having this conversation. I can look at the clock. I know where I'm at. But when I'm in a dream state or off somewhere, do I know what time it is? Do I care what time it is? Does time even enter into the picture? When you're in a dream and it's going on, are you worried about what time it is? So, as a shaman in training, we must always look at the total. There's all this cosmic energy that we are a part of because our spirit, we're electrical beings, where our brains work off of electrical impulses. So these impulses and these energies are triggering things in people. And I think in some cases it's triggering, let's see, how do I put this in a tactful way? Crap they should have dealt with that they're still dragging behind them. Was that tactful? Not very. But I'm speaking about myself because there are times, and I've discussed it in other videos, about the things that I have had to leave behind me. You cannot be a spiritual being if you're going to drag stuff from this world with you. So in this realm, it's time to give some of this stuff up. It's time to move forward. It's time to look at time in a different way. How much time have you collectively wasted on silly nonsensical things? You can't get that time back. Well, I wasted time on Friday doing a something something, or I did something. Yeah, time. But for myself, there was so much baggage. You can't. You keep dragging that sack of cotton down through the field. When you get to the end, if you don't dump it out, you got to drag it down another row. I've talked about this before. But I've noticed that many people on many levels are still, it's sort of like agitating old things, not necessarily that maybe they should have taken care of, but now they're realizing they need to take care of them. Wait a minute. My sister in Ohio, she's taking care of some things. My sister down in Florida, she's taking care of some things. Oh, my daughter says hi, by the way, everybody. For those of you that were here when the phone rang the other night, I had a good conversation with my daughter. And she's realizing things, and her mother and my granddaughter, and everybody's having these little changes in their time frame. So I don't know where it's headed. The basic seems like it's good because things that they should have had more time for to take care of. I don't know what it is, but generally, I think these energies are stirring people up. That's a fact. Everybody's stirred up at some point. But how it's triggering certain things in certain people depends on what they've been through. So, for me, I've had some of the strangest thoughts about my dad and sitting and having dinner and balsamic vinegar and some kind of weird thoughts that I would that I would rather not go back over. But I realized that, wait a minute, aha, ha, ha, that thought came up, the priest thing came up, and I was able to deal with it without any emotions, and it didn't upset me, and I could talk about it without wanting to kill a priest, a particular priest. But anyway, but so in time, my thoughts have changed, my emotions have changed in time. I have been able to look that, I wasted a lot of time worrying about those things in the past. So none of this can go with us. We should not take anything with us. We can't take any gold or silver or nothing, and you might dump it in the casket with you. But the bottom line is that we need to be as clean as spirits, and time is a factor in that we should always be aware that any time might be our time to pass over. And any time is a good time to learn something new. Anytime is a good time to receive energy from the universe when we're aware and awake and open and allow it to come in. So many different factions of the idea of time. Where does it fit into your life? But in time, here we go some more, right? In the future time, there are going to be changes. How we react to them is something that we can take time to think about now. How do I want to feel in 6 months after, people start going back to work? Do I want to fall back into the same old thing again? In 2 years, will I have forgotten this? I want to remember this episode. Not in a fear way, but proud that we as people on the planet were able to adapt. And yes, there's been strife, but we can all agree it could have been worse or could be. And it's our own hopium. I've heard some people talking about hopium again. And I'm like, listen, if we don't have hope, why get up tomorrow? I have hope that I'm going to go out and dig some in my well tomorrow. I hope that I'm going to go out and be able to, finish a project out by the bus. I hope that I'm going to be able to move the track. I hope I'm going to be able to go, kayaking. I hope. Without hope, why get up tomorrow? Why worry? What the hell? I'll just sit here like a bump on a log. I could do that if I wanted, and I did for several years, and I realized, oh, holy crap, all this time is going by. Well, yeah, but did you do well? I meditated a lot and I did a lot of reading, but I didn't go camping. I didn't go down on the river. I was afraid to, and then I broke out of my shell and started going back on the, and I'm more alive than I was then. And what's changed? Time. See? So, do you have the time? Yes. Every instant counts. Is time the same in other realms? No. Because all you got to do is think about if somebody, well, yes, it is, and no, it is, blah, 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 argue all they want to. You know yourself, if you've had a dream and it seemed like a long time or it seemed like a short time, or, you know yourself the answer. Just look inside. Time is different in other areas, right? In other realms. You go live with Native American folks, you don't care if it's 10 to 9. You don't care if it's 2:15. Is it daylight? Yes. Is it nighttime? Yes. Or no, if it's daylight, you know what I mean? So, but the idea though that time in the perception, and I much rather be around Native American folk who aren't worried about what time it is. Now you go to a powwow and they'll have a 2 o'clock call. Well, they have a schedule, and you're hearing me, okay, all on Indian time. We this is, first call, dancers, and, they'll be 20 minutes late, but it's all in we know as a conglomerate group at a powwow that, we're probably going to be, by white man's clock, we're probably going to be a few minutes late without fail. But nobody seems to get too upset about it. You know what I mean? That's the whole key about this. So what about other realms? What do we need to do with this cosmic energy? Well, if you start to feel flustered, frustrated, or otherwise triggered, or otherwise something going on, take a little bit of time and go, wait a minute, what's going on here? Before you get your panties in a wad kind of thing, wait a minute, there's a lot of other stuff going on. There are 7 billion people that are dealing with the same basic things we are in their own realm. And if you don't think that energy ain't bouncing around in our atmosphere and down and back and forth across the planet, oh, you betcha. So we keep, our time sacred. We understand our time is ours. We give it as we need to and should. But when you overextend your time to someone else and you don't have enough time for yourself, that's a no-no. You got to have time for yourself. And in ways that enrich your life. With this lockdown, I've been so tempted to go get my truck at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the river and just dare somebody to stop me and say, where are you going at 2 in the morning? I'm going to the river. and just, but at the same time, I'm like, no, okay. But who knows? I might just jump in the truck and go to the river. Because that's been my impulse for years now. In the middle of the night, want to go to the river, I go, you know. So, but other people, but it enriches me. There's something to it. It's not that I'm saying, well, now's as good a time as any. That's my philosophy, especially since I have so much of it. But now, so my friends, I've yacked on for 46 minutes and 28 seconds and counting worth of time, your precious time. I thank you, every single one of you, new subscribers, all you old folks that have been around for quite a while. I love you all, I do. And I was thinking about you all today and said, I'm going to do a video this evening, and here I am. Truth to me, how are you? I think I dreamt this concept the other night. This is confirmation for me. Right on. Cheers. Hi, Project Sky Falls. Um, the grand piano drag. Yes, but it seems to be around buying into others people's dramas by dealing with the moment. I get that. Hi, daughter. Yeah, I gave her a. She was really tickled. I called her back anyway, but Millie Cow, hi, how are you? Fully healing traumas can be very difficult. It is, Millie Cow, but here's one of the biggest keys that I found for myself, and you've been around long enough to hear me chat about my stuff. The biggest thing that I had the change in my life was, well, is this. Before I was like, well, I think I think I can get better. I think I can get over this. And I changed it to I will get over this. I am going to get over this. I don't set a time, but I make sure, instead of, well, I don't know, this is really hard. If I convince myself it's really hard, I just say, well, it might get a little rough. It became tough. And it became tougher because I was, wow, this is tough. I was focused on the tough part, like, wow, this is interesting. This is getting a little, tough at times. So I changed it. I added a little something to it with my own self, in that, wait a minute. Yeah, this is a little tough, but I'll get by it. You know, yeah, this is a little bit, I got this. Well, it's been, but I've made it this, whatever it is. It might be a little tough, but I've made it. I've done it. We'll get it. I always make sure, if it's rough, that we're going to make it anyway. And when I started adding that positivity to the toughness, it wasn't quite as tough. I mean, yes, and I would argue at myself and go, wow, this is really shitty. And this is really, oh, shut up. No, it's not. You'll get through this. So, because I would try to let whatever it was, it'll try to drag you down. Wow, this is, well, swim then, damn it. If the current's too strong, well, then float or find a log. Well, but it, we always look at how hard it is, instead of looking, well, maybe it won't be so hard. Maybe I can, maybe I can get through this. My friend came over the other day. I bought her she helped pay my property off back before I got my disability check, and I almost lost my home. And so, as over the years, we have bought each other things, and she's on a limited income, but she bought a new vehicle because hers was just gone and she couldn't fix it, and it wasn't worth fixing. It was that old. But I bought her a tow bar to pull up the trailer that I got, because my friend Marcia and I have been going camping for years. And so, and she came over the other day, and I'd been up most of the night working on some other projects and things. And she came over, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It's heavy. And I didn't say a word. My internal brain was like, nah, you'll figure this out. And it may have taken a few minutes longer, but I got it bolted onto her vehicle. And now, I got to hook up the lights, but Now, if we want to go swim, she's got a year-old vehicle, and I got this nice new trailer with the kayaks on it, so we can go camping and not have to worry about scratching up her vehicle or anything. But anyway, but so it was like, "What, you bought that for me?" And I was like, "Well, it'll do me some good too. If I want to go riding somewhere and you want to go, I'll pay the gas. You take your car. My poor old truck's getting, got 280,000 miles on her. She needs some work." But in time, see, we have the two of us have talked about this for years, and over time we have made it. Regardless of this or that, I now have a trailer. The kayaks are on it. She now has a tow bar. We Over time this works out between friends and family and whoever. If you work towards a goal, regardless of how long it takes, we got it. Now she was so excited the other day. She was like, "I just can't wait to be able to pull the trailer." It just, and it's just that. But in time, we all see things differently, and it enhances us. So, Millie Cow, I'm always on. There are times when I send you prayers, and I'm just like, I don't know if he's, listening or got an issue, but Millie Cow, you got this, And I say that to everybody. You know, things are shitty. I've been through some shitty, tough times. Oh my God, hospitals and poked and broken bones and neck braces for years. And we can get over this. I don't know how sometimes that I did, but I know this: it's always been the positive side of it. Well, it might hurt for a while. Okie dokie. My finger still hurts where I smashed it last spring or summer with the thing. It's still numb, but I still do things with it. It hurts, cranky, cranky, and it reminds me, don't be stupid like that again. But in time, though, all things will heal. Even this is getting better. Even though I hit a nerve and it's sore most of the time, but in time it heals. In time, things will change. And for my lower backs, the other day I couldn't walk. I couldn't. It was, whoa. And I just said, well, I guess this is one of them days when I'm not gonna be toting a bunch of stuff around. But I piddle. I still got things done. It's all. I didn't let the pain stop me. It slowed me down, but it didn't stop me because I chose to make a difference and said, "Nah, you'll slow me down a little bit today. I won't be running around after the chicken, but I got this. Well, I'll get through it. Little slow today. I got a few more things done. Tomorrow's another day, and in time, these things will heal or cure, or we'll deal with them in time. So your time, best thing you can do with your time is to think about the time. But seriously, what time do I have to heal? What time am I being in a rush all the time? Is my time being sucked dry by something else? Am I spending too much time and you got to be honest, on worthless stuff? Because if you wish to be a higher spirit, if you wish your energy to mingle with the cosmos, and I hate to say this to some of these gamers out there, but the amount of time that some of these, and I got relatives who play games all the time, and they're in another world, in another realm, and they do not exist in our realm. And when they come out of those games, their minds have been patterned. Trust me, I used to be a gamer, and I realized one day, oh my God, all the time I have spent in the game has given me nothing in this life, nothing in my spiritual life. It has been a total waste of my time. Now, I'm not against a good game of mahjong or something like that. I spent hours playing mahjong, trying to get my mind to be better and play faster and do. Okay. But one could say, well, didn't you waste time doing that, Hawkeye? One could say that. And I would argue that same point. I spent a little bit too much playing mahjong there last week. But I didn't have anything else I was doing. But to the point, though, it takes us into another realm, so our spirit is disconnected and is connected then in a time loop video game euphoria. And in that video game euphoria, time's different. Well, I didn't realize how many hours I played the game. I don't realize how long I was in the game. I used to say this all the time. And I realized, whoa, hang on. Now, to go play a video game, but if somebody's playing 3, 4 hours a day, do you think their time is being well spent? No. Now, there are people who make money at video games, and I'm not trying to down video games or playing them. That's not my point. My point is time. Are you wasting your time? Be honest. Or you just don't give a shit about your time. I mean, because if you're just going to play for hours and days and weeks on end, I've got some relatives like that, then okay, why don't you go fishing anymore? Well, I don't have the time because you're sitting in front of your video game all the time. I love my family, but some of these folks who play video games all the time, you can't be doing something else? Well, I can play a video game and watch TV at the same time. No, you can't. You're either watching the one or you're watching the other. Well, what happened to the movie? Well, I had to watch the movie over again because I didn't catch it all. I was playing the game. Okay, fine. Do what you do, all right? But at the same time, there are people who are lying to themselves and lying to others. Well, I only spent a little bit of time on this game. I don't spend any time at all on the game. What game? What game? And fidgety. We won't go there. But what about that time? And what about the interaction of the mind with that game? Did you learn anything in there? Well, we played and we built a castle and we planted farms and okay. What did you get out of it? What do you mean? What did you get out of the game? You spent a lot of time in there. Well, it was a lot of fun. Do you feel rested? No, my arms hurt because of the thingy, my thumbs, and my eyes are tired from staring at the screen. And did you have fun? Well, yeah, I guess. Then was it worth your time? It just goes back into this, but people aren't being honest with themselves. And I'm hoping that this time that things, and you got to admit, things have been altered. The paradigm has changed. But what the net result is and what the outcome is going to be at the end, I don't know. But it's going to be curious to keep an eye on. And as a watchman, and as just one of these people likes to watch curious things in human beings, as an anthropologist, I guess, um, it's going to be interesting to watch how this stuff turns out. Miss Michelle, see you next time. Oh, Truth and Me had to bow out. Okay, it's it's bouncing like mad. Sorry, Truth and Me. Blessings. Um, Perspective. I think I'm impatient and afraid that if I don't see progress, I'll stagnate with the same problems forever. That's true, Millie Cow. But the thing is that you say, well, you know what? And I keep using the priest thing. You know what? I thought, I saw the thing about a priest the other day and blah, blah, blah. And, I didn't get angry inside. First time. I would tell myself the next time this comes up, I'm not going to get angry. And then the next time it come up, I start to get pissed off and I go, wait a minute. I remember I wasn't going to get angry about this. You got to take small steps. And you have to be able to look at it. Sometimes standing still is good, Millie Cow. But if you worry about stagnation, don't worry about it, because you just tell yourself, if I ever get to feeling stagnant, move on. But anyway, I've had to rewire my brain to stop associating video games and TV with pleasure. That's a good one. I spend my time a little more productivity now. Social media is still a big problem, though. But now, compared to a couple of years ago, I just can't spend very long watching TV or playing games because I know it's not a good use of my time. That's not to say I'm comfortable with reality now. Reality sucks sometimes, right, Millie Cow? I still have addictive escapist tendencies. I just directed to different outlets. Listen, Millie Cow, if you got to go off and play a video game for a couple hours to like whatever, don't worry about it. The fact that you have already made the changes that you have, and this goes for anyone, if you, when you realize, wait a minute, maybe I'm doing too much of this, you have just made a giant step. People who realize, wait a minute, maybe I'm, maybe I'm doing too much of this. And whether anybody's telling you or not, and any addictive behavior or drinking or what, you know, but as soon as you go, wait a minute, as soon as you become aware of it, that's the key. When you become aware of the situation, then you can change it. And there was one particular psychologist that I worked with many years ago. And he told me, he goes, see, he had a box of cigars. He was a priest. He goes, see this box of cigars? He said, I made a deal with God years ago. Now, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I'm a priest and I died. He said, I made a deal with God that I was only going to smoke 2 cigars a day. And you know what? Between me and my God, that works. But he says, I got to tell you, there's been some days where I've smoked 3 cigars, and God knows I've smoked 4 cigars in one day. But I felt so guilty on my own that I wouldn't smoke maybe but 1 cigar the next 2 or 3 days. And I did that with cigarettes for a while, and then I just got lazy with it. But I'd say, I'm going to have 4 cigarettes every day. That was my limit. And one in the morning that I'd smoke, take a couple of drags off, and I'd put it out, put it over my ear, and I'd smoke it halfway through the working in the mid morning. And then one after lunch, man, have a lunch and smoke a cigarette, man. And then later on in the afternoon, then after dinner, I'd smoke one, and that was my 4 for the day kind of thing. And some days I smoked 5. And then some days I wouldn't but smoke maybe 2 cigarettes. But it was between me and God, and me and my maker, me and me, actually. Who cares in the long run? I do, because it was my limit that I set. So if I break it, who am I hurting? Well, I'm hurting myself because I made the promise, or at least I thought I did. You're going to limit yourself to 2 a day. Okay, fine. Well, then why'd you make the deal? This is the subject behind it. Why did you specify 2? You could have said 3 a day, and that'd gave you a little bit more leeway. Why did you come up with the 2? Well, I don't know. I thought 2 was actually all I really needed. Oh, so smoking 3 cigars is like really too much? Yeah, maybe. So I thought 2 was a good round number. So anything in life, you can say, well, I'm going to make this deal with the creator. You're making it with yourself. Creator is more worried about whether or not you kept your own promise to yourself. The end result is not whether or not you made it with well, I'm going to talk to God about this. You're talking to yourself, because God's going, I don't care if you smoke yourself to death. It's your choice. I gave you free will. Or is it up to us to go, wait a minute, God gave me a choice here, or so it's claimed. And I'm looking at this that I'm going to set my own goal. I'm going to set my own standard. I'm going to set my own social norm. I am going to become this person, and I'm going to do these steps to try to achieve it. Now, for Millie Cow, for you, because you mentioned it, in the video games or something, everybody's got some kind of addictive behavior. Eating is an addictive behavior. I love to eat. God, I made a stew, and I was like, man, I had 3 bowls before I knew it. It was really good. And I realized 2 would have been sufficient, but I went back for that 3rd one without even thinking about it. Um, so, so today I've only had 2 bowls all day, but to the point though, it's up to us. Now, how strict do we want to be with our time? How careful do we want to be? I used to take, 2.5 sugars. I mean, I would like heap them in there, and half of it was milk. Now it's a little bit of milk and barely a level teaspoon, if it's that much. A lot of times it's only like about a half a teaspoon, and I dump it in and it's a pretty good. It's not a normal size cup. This is 2 cups in here, normal cups. So, I've really cut down on my sugar intake. I used to go through 5 pounds every 3 weeks. And now I go through 5 pounds maybe every 6 weeks. I've cut it down in half. I finally had to buy some fresh sugar recently because I've cut my sugar intake back so much. Is that a good thing? Well, hell yeah. Is can I? I've learned that the coffee tastes okay with this little bit of stuff. I've adjusted my intake. Still like my coffee. Thank you, Bob. But I made the choice to cut the sugar content down because I'm getting older. I don't want, I'm knock on wood, I don't think I have diabetes, but it is prevalent in some of our older family members. It's prevalent in just older people. But if I choose to limit my intake, now if I want some sugar, I'm gonna dump it in there and stir it up. But I will feel guilty afterwards and go, tomorrow that was really too much. I smoked a half a pack of cigarettes in an afternoon the other day. I was working out a problem. And I looked down and went, crap, I smoked a half a pack of cigarettes in like 4 hours when I was, no, 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 no. And every time I went to go get a cigarette, I'd put it in my mouth and then I'd take it out and I'd lay it down and go, nope, you had too many already. It's our personal choice. It's our time to do with our time. What I want to do with my time is up to me. Absolutely. Unless it involves other people, blah, blah, blah. But for me being a hermit down here, I have to take care of myself. And how I take care of myself is important to me. Now, if I don't give a crap about myself, then I'm going to be like crap, right? So we have to do what we need to do to stay alive and healthy, and also to make good use of our time. Now, I'm sorry, but I just like to stare out the window sometimes. I don't want to do anything. And it's not because, and I feel guilty. I'm like, God, I feel so guilty. I just want to look at the sky. I just want to watch the trees. I just want to smell the grass and watch the butterflies. Oh, but I feel guilty because I'm not working on a project. Oh, shut up. Enjoy it. That's my video game. Watching the fireflies in the evening out the back window back here, on the back porch into the woods. But anyway, so my friends, Millie Cow, you can do it, my friend. Don't overburden yourself with anything. Make a small, and this is for everybody. I've learned it myself. If you're going to learn how to walk, baby steps. Don't worry about it. Are you standing? Yeah. How's your balance? Pretty good. All right, let's work on that balance. Let's not worry about how many steps we take today. Let's just worry about can we stand up without falling down? And then we're going to work on the little tiny baby steps. We're going to do this little joggy jog thing. And in life, it's like that. I got out of my wheelchair, not all at once, but by taking baby steps. I've gotten my brain back some. It's been working pretty decent here lately, knock on wood, by playing mahjong and doing mind bending games and doing something that will keep my mind sharp, and working on different construction projects, and working out details on how to drill this well in the backyard, and how to put the trailer together, and how to put the thing on. And it gets a little old at times, but I worked the problems through. And by working them through, it's good for the brain, blah, 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 all that kind of good stuff. And the time involved that you spend. So I could have been playing a video game, but then I wouldn't have worked out these problems. Now I got the well ready to drill. Now I got the brick done. Now I got the tailgate on the trailer. Now I got but if I had not taken the time to motivate after I figured it out in my head, it wouldn't have got done. So what we do other time, we can think about it, we can ponder it, we can work out the details, but then we got to do it in time. So I I think I have confused you all enough. It's been over an hour, my goodness. And I didn't think I was gonna spend much time on the subject, but you know me and my ramblings. But you know, the spirits were nagging me today to have a conversation this evening and to put stuff out there more on a regular basis that I've talked about. Just in let's have conversation, let's have camaraderie. I love you all. You guys keep up the good and gals, you folk, keep up the good work that you're doing. Michelle, it's always a pleasure. Millie Cow, I feel better about myself. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Tobacco has only become a problem since I quit smoking weed. I don't like it, but it's helped me stay sober, and I think that's a good thing. I feel better about my mental health without being addicted to weed. It's not a harmless drug, not for me. To me, it is, but that for everybody. Michelle says sugar is my vice. Those things are soul affirming. Yeah, watching the trees is great, Millie Cow. I agree with that. Spirit stirring. Um, well, you know, um, I know people with the weed issue. Now, I take a hit or two every day. And there have been times when now I can go without it, and I have gone without it. But there are times, and now as far as like smoking a joint, no, I take a hit, maybe two hits off my little bowl, or um I've got one of these little one hitters, you know, put a little bit there, take a hit, done with it, right? And considering what I used to smoke, I have cut way down. And do I want to smoke all the time, every time? No. But with some of my chronic pain, for me, and maybe it is my mind, and probably part of it is, but if I take two hits and I get that first, I know where my brain is kind of thing, it gets back, I can somehow control the pain better. And sometimes it's just a damn lie to want to get stoned and watch cartoons. I will say that. But mostly, you know, for my own self, I had to go through the whole thing. Why am I smoking weed? Why am I doing this? But I was taking 21 pills a day of painkillers and all these other kinds of things. And now I smoke a couple of bowls a day. And they're really small bowls. They're just a little thing, you know. So am I smoking, you know, large quantities of weed? No. Am I smoking it? Yes. Does it help me? Yes. Have I gotten too stoned at times? Yeah. I, you know, I won't lie about that. But at the same time, if I'm working out on a particular issue, I can take two hits off my bowl and go into my 3D little world over here that I'm really good at doing with myself and wander around and build things up here and then come out of it and go, I think that shit'll work. But, you know, I'm not trying to condone it or, you know, suggest otherwise. I realized for many years that I had an addiction problem. You know, I was addicted to speed and to painkillers. I mean, I've had one hell of addicted to alcohol for many years. And, you know, smoking cigarettes and a little bit of weed, those are the two things I guess I still got going for me at my age. My addiction for want to go kayaking though seems to be, you know, picking up a little bit. I want to get on the river more, um, especially when it's up. But I understand where other people, if they took the same quantity of marijuana that I did every day, they wouldn't be able to function. But I know people who'll smoke a whole joint of this same stuff that I got, and it's good stuff. And they'll like, you know, that just gets them going. And they're off and running for a whole day. And I used to be that way. I'd crawl on top of a roof and put, you know, and put shingles down or lay tile, or dig trenches. One in the morning, one at lunchtime, and one at afternoon break. And hey man, I worked my ass off, stoned. But I realized that that's too much too. So, but people have to find your own balance. Now, to anybody who's got this addiction, one of the things too is like, for years I was like, well, you smoke too much weed, Dave. Well, do it. Well, you smoke every day, don't you? Yeah. So, but you're smoking too much. Well, wait, hang on. Because I smoke some every day, that's too much for some people. Whereas if you actually measured how much I smoked, it'd be about a joint's worth once, over an entire 24 hours. So one would say, well, but yeah, but you're still smoking it. Well, yeah. Do you like your diet, cola, and you like your this or that, and you like your bag of cookies, or you like your thing. Everybody's got their something. So, but here's my point about this. Like with the cigarette thing, the times that I have like really not paid attention, and I lit 4 cigarettes, and I look over in the ashtray and I go, now who smoked them? They're mine. Holy crap. You smoked too many, didn't you? Yes. Do you have an excuse? Not really. I wasn't paying attention. I was sitting here working on something and smoked one. Next thing I knew, I smoked another. And now there's a half a pack of butts in the ashtray. It's about time we started being more aware. I'm talking about me. That we be more aware of what's going on. Like, don't be doing that. So every time I've wanted a cigarette recently, I've been putting them in my mouth and taking them out and laying them down on the desk here. So, but don't feel guilty if you do. That's the thing. Well, I really wanted a joint, and I smoked it. Now I feel so bad. Now, if you were saying that you were a junkie and you went down and got a fix and shot up some morphine or something, I would consider that not so good. But I know, but I smoked a joint and I was going to try. You smoked a joint. You didn't take a needle? No. You didn't use any smack or anything? You didn't shoot up? No. There wasn't any crack in it, was there? No. You smoked a joint? Yes. Then chill. One joint does not make you, oh my God, I'm going to smoke a bag a week. So don't feel guilty because you smoked a joint, I guess, for some of these folks out there that I've seen, because sometimes a joint will calm you down when nothing else will, but just saying. And if you can't smoke it, then eat it. But don't feel guilty. I mean, now for me, if I was to like go back to drinking alcohol, I got a bottle of Jack Daniels up here that I bought 2 years ago for my birthday. I ain't cracked it open yet, but it's there. I looked at it the other day and thought, I'd like to have a Jack and Coke. That'd really be good right about now. Then I thought about, yeah, but you're going to have a hangover for shit if. So I was like, well, I'll just leave the bottle there. But the idea, though, that before I would have said, I can't have alcohol. Ooh, Dave. Now I'm like, if I want a shot of it, I'll take the damn cap off and take a hit and put the bottle back up. Doesn't mean I'll go back to drinking. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And we have to understand the difference. I have control of my Jack Daniels or the gin that's sitting over there. I have control over this right here because I haven't lit it in a while. So it's like, so I make the choice all the time. But at the same time, I'm not going to feel guilty because, well, I decided to smoke a whole bowl, or a friend came over and we smoked a joint, and I pissed away a couple hours bullshitting with them sitting in the yard watching the trees. Ain't going to do it. No, not now. I'm retired. Not going to worry about it. I spent my life going through everybody else's jumping through everybody else's hoops and playing everybody else's games. I'm 67. I do damn what I want to. But the thing is that I realize that I don't have to do this. I don't, And in time, I probably will change my opinion a little more. Time has changed my opinion of many things. Look at how I first started this this YouTube video. You know, Man, but the changes we've all been through. Millie Cow and Michelle and, Truth and me, all y'all out there, y'all have had changes. Y'all been, hanging out with me. And so at least you've been aware of other things. And, but we're still here and we're still friends. And I think that's important. And thank you. Millie Cow and Michelle and all y'all. I do. I mean it. We all have our stuff to work through. Um, no matter what, I'm always adamant about keeping alcohol to a minimum. I almost never drink more than one beer at a time. It, as two beers, it just gets sloppy after a while. Um, Probably already learned my lesson with alcohol in the past life or something. I don't like it. I've seen what it does to people, and I don't want it to become that. Yeah, alcohol is a. I get it. Michelle says giving up alcohol was the best thing I ever did for myself. Me too. Me too. Me three. I agree. The anticipation of guilt over getting high is one thing that helps me stay sober. Good for you, Millie Cow. It won't be worth it. Um, Michelle says I highly recommend CBD. Yep, I've tried some of it, and boy, I got to say, some of that stuff I've taken a lot of drugs over my time. Acid, mushrooms, but tried some oil not too long ago. And I want to tell you that thing got me higher than a kite for 24 hours. And it wasn't even a full dose. Now, I could have smoked a quantity of weed and not got that high versus what that oil did to me, my body, my brain, and I'm like, oh, this good goodness gracious, great balls of fire. And I was like, whoa. Now I didn't feel any pain, but I wasn't feeling anything else either. And I was like, that shit's too strong. I but some of those oils now, you got to be careful. But for me, I was surprised at how whacked out it got me. Hey, Truth of Me, you had to stay and listen. Great advice. I think addiction is the test we set for ourselves to prove we are stronger than we think we are. Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. Millie Cow says, but yeah, no matter what, I'm not doing crack or meth or heroin, so I'd say I'm doing pretty well. That is a comforting thought. It is, that we aren't addicted to other things that are really killing us. But um, that Michelle agrees with you. Self medicating my childhood trauma didn't work out so well for me. Me neither. Self medicating for that kind of stuff, it never helps until you have to actually, look right at the situation and deal with it. But I agree. CBD shouldn't get you high. Then it was the wrong kind of oil. But uh, you're right about that, Millie Cow. Yes, full spectrum stuff. Yeah, uh I second the CBD. It was great pain relief for arthritis. Yeah. And see, and this was some, well, kind of sort of homemade through a friend who makes this oil. Anyway, It wasn't a store bought brand kind of, and a person takes it for pain, scoliosis, and some really nasty, body pain. And so, like, here, try this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'll just stick to a couple of hits off my bowl. Thank you very much. Golly, could have made a whole batch of brownies. I mean, and spread it out. You know what I mean? But anyway, my friends, you are the greatest to hang out with. I do, but I've been here longer than I need to, and old men have to go and tinkle more frequently than not, and so it's been a while since I've done that. And yes, the butt cramp blues is, anyway. Ween. Cheers. Um, I want a lesson I learned when I quit drinking. Uh, yeah, quitting drinking for me, it was tough, but God, it was the best thing for me. I swear. Millie, I've smoked dabs a few times. They can make you fear for your sanity. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Some of those dabs, and they're like, well, this is okay. And somebody brought, oh God, what Skittles or something like that. There's some little candy thingy. Oh my God. They were like, here, just, this is the dose. And I said, well, okay, and ate it. The rest of the day, I was like, and they're like, flying around like, nothing's going on. And I'm like, sorry, I've been high for a long time, over the years, but Lord have mercy. I don't know. Whatever it is this oil does for me or whatever, you know, I'm a cheap drunk, y'all, in that respect. So, but it's been fun experimenting. And some of this high grade bud that's available now compared to the old days when I was growing up around here. We went to Gainesville and picked up what they called back in the day Gainesville Green, and it was the University of Florida at Gainesville, and them old hippies back there in the late '60s and early '70s might still be doing it. Was growing hydroponic weed, and you could buy a pound of weed for $90, but you had to buy 3 pounds. Man, we was riding down to Gainesville every 2 or 3 weeks because we had people up here. It was just, and it was good. And about that same time in the early mid '70s, the Tallahassee Two Toke came out. Oh my God. And it was Two Tokes, son, you were there. And then me and some friends of ours, we got together and grew our own Tallahassee Two Toke. And for years, we had a strain called Bubblegum, and it smelled like double bubble, the big bubble gum, pink bubble thingies, smelled just like pink bubble gum when you smoked it, and it made you giggle. Oh my God. Everything was funny, and it was some of the best weed I ever grew and ever smoked. But then I've been busted a few times, and the helicopter incident, and blah blah blah. So I don't grow it anymore. But man, when I did, those were the days. But I gotta say, these different strains and stuff that are out now, it's killer. Oh my God. I mean, 2 hits of this stuff, and it's like, and folks are like smoking joints of this. And I thought our stuff was pretty good back in the day, but man, oh man, I can't imagine being a whole joint stoned on some of this high grade stuff these days. It doesn't make sense to me, but I see it. I get it. My friends, I love you. Bubble gum, yum, yum. It really was good. It really was. I'm bragging, yes, but at the same time, it was a fond memory. We grew some of this bubble gum weed, and it was just like nobody had it. And we had like a pound of it that we had grown. And we were growing some more and some strains that we called tiger weed. Oh my God. But anyway, that was back in the '80s and early '90s before folks were really doing it indoors or anything. And we were doing just fine, with just local stuff. And we did our homework with lights and stuff, but there was no internet, so we were literally sending off for catalogs and things from Denmark on how to clone and how to grow weed. That was back in the day, High Times magazine and that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I love you all. Truth in me, it's good that you're still there. Giggling sounds like a great time. Oh, it was. Giggling was like, you were a weed pioneer. In a lot of ways down here we were, till we all got busted with it. But, oh my God, 10, 12-foot plants growing in an attic, and I mean, they look like Christmas trees and pruned. Oh my God, it was great. Oh well. Those were the days. Georgia, it's still illegal to even possess it. It's a misdemeanor for less than an ounce. But growing that and all that kind of stuff is, but Georgia has had the longest standing less than an ounce rule versus a lot of other states. But, the state of Georgia still needs to get off its redneck ass and make it more viable for folks. But anyway, I love you all, Michelle, Truth in Me, Millie Cow, Ween, absolutely. I wish I could get some seeds. It legal. It is legal there in Canada, yeah, and certain states, and it's like Michigan can grow a couple of plants. Or friends of mine up in Michigan, and every once in a while we'll get a little sample from there, and other folks here and there, but it just seems to me that, you know, God made this plant and it should be up to us whether or not we want to grow it and smoke it ourselves. You can't, it's not like it's crack or heroin. And too many people, I was, when I was taken to court uh, about the marijuana in my backyard with the helicopters and that whole incident that happened to me, there, one of the district attorneys for the county, I'll just leave it at that, was one of the guys that I used to snort cocaine with back in the early days. So I was like going to wave at him like I knew him. And he was like, I don't know who you are, kind of thing. And I was like, well, he's up there beside the judge at the bench. He was smoking, snorting, and now he's a district attorney. But those were his college days, right? He knew who I was right away. He was like, don't say nothing. Yeah, I don't know you. Come on. So many people that are do it behind the scenes, and well, I don't really do that. Oh, bullshit. So it just needs to come out to the light. And anyway, that's my 10 cents on that. My friends, you stay healthy out there, okay? Keep it together. I'm glad y'all are hanging out and we're smiling. The general tone of this has been more happy than happy than, not. But snot's not very happy, but it's not for you to decide. Never mind. But in this time, when we don't panic, we take care of our time. We take care of ourselves. We encourage each other. This has got to be one of the best times. And this is one time in all of time that this planet won't remember. I mean, won't forget. We won't remember. We will remember and we'll never forget. So count the time that we have. Time, 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 time. My friends, I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Till next time, I give you all a prayer. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relations, both past, present, and to come, will learn to accept, receive, and share the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. And again, as the number 3 the law of threes. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, and all of your cohorts in life will continue to accept and receive and share the wisdom, the knowledge, and the healing from the universe. I think as a society, as a group of human beings, we're not doing too bad. Not too shabby, guys and gals. I think we've showed a lot of folks that we're better human beings than a lot of people gave us credit for. So keep up the good work. Keep it between the ditches. And TTFN, ta ta for now from South Georgia. And all of us here that love Bob, thank you, Bob. Coffee and we till next time. Love you all. Cosmic hugs. Bye.